Kristen Maddox, Public Information Officer for the School District of Indian River County, and we are here today with our Teacher and Employee of the Year for our district. First, we have Dr. Nikki Mosweck. We'll introduce her. She's here with me from Vero Beach High School. She is our Teacher of the Year for our district, and she is the AP Environmental Science teacher at the high school, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's been quite a few months of several different events that you've been keeping up with.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So first, let's start off by just tell us a little bit about you. Like, where did you start, and how did you end up here?
Okay. So I was born and raised in Pennsylvania. I went to college there, attended the University of Scranton. And when I was finished and ready to graduate, I didn't know what I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up getting this opportunity to go over and teach English at a girls' middle school in South Korea, and spent a year there. And that's really where it kind of solidified for me that I loved being in the classroom and teaching and working with students, and being part of their lives and their development. And so I came back to the States and ended up moving to Florida to get a certification in teaching. I moved here with my, at the time, boyfriend, my soon-to-be husband, and we just kind of settled in here, and we love it. And so when I first moved down, I was looking for teaching positions. It was halfway through the year, which is difficult to find, mm-hmm. and Vero Beach High School had an open science position. So it just worked out that I was able to step right in at the Flick, started teaching science there. And I taught for a couple years, and ended up deciding before it got too late I wanted to go back to school. So I got my doctorate at Florida Tech, and as soon as I was done there, I was like, you know what, I really miss high school. I miss working with the students. It's a very special age in which they're starting to kind of realize what's going on around them, and so I really wanted to go back and share what I learned with the high school students. So, and here I am. So I've been here ever since I graduated in 2012. So 2012, 2013 was my first year back.
Wow, so that's quite the journey.
Yeah.
So how was that transition between South Korea back to the States with teaching?
Education is very different over there. So it was interesting to see in South Korea, education and academics are very heavily prioritized. Not that they aren't here, but I would have students who would go to special tutors or special academies after school. They would attend an entire day at middle school, and then they would go to these special academies until 10 or 11 at night. And then they'd come home, sleep, and do it all over again. So it was a very different world for them. Right. And so, it was almost, for me, being in the classroom with those students, it was almost like a break. Like, we got to have fun and learn English and just kind of get to know each other, and kind of give them a little bit of a time period where they were able to enjoy, instead of having to, kind of nose to the grindstone all the time. So coming back here, it's different in terms of, parental involvement, family involvement, what they do when they go home. There's a lot more extracurricular activities, and attention is divided in so many places. But I feel like I don't know, it's just different.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know that they both have their advantages, but yeah, I kind of like being able to see how the students grow and explore many different interests here at the high school. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the cool part about my job, is that I get to learn unique little things about each of the teachers, the employees of the year, and especially when we get down to the finalists and it's a smaller group. And I learned that about you, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's so unique and different. There was actually a couple of finalists that taught out of the country, and you don't see that every day, you know, and that's kind of what makes us the melting pot that we are here in Indian River County. Our teachers come from so many different walks of life, which is so cool. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the past few months here, because you were chosen as Teacher of the Year here at the high school, and then we started off on this huge course of events. So just take us through that just a little bit.
So I guess it was early November. The principals, or principal and assistant principals, and previous Teachers of the Year came in, and I was completely unsuspecting. I had no idea that this was happening. So it was quite a surprise. But a pleasant one. And so that kind of starts the whole process, and then you find out that you've got to start to really reflect and fill out, all of the essays and go through what you're doing in the school and how you're teaching and impacting the students. So it's been an interesting process of reflection, really, to kind of see what you're doing well and how you can still even improve. But then I guess, you kind of put that to the back burner after we submit the application, and then all of a sudden it's another surprise where you all come in with the prize patrol, and we all go out to the lunch and the luncheon, which was fantastic, and just to kind of celebrate the those finalists and those people who were chosen to kind of potentially represent the district. So and after that, the kind of having to do a lesson and get the kids involved and the students, that's been a lot of fun. It's been really, I've loved seeing how the students respond to, okay, you're going to be on camera and this is why. They really kind of relish the role of showing what they know and really kind of being part of the action as well. So it's been fun there. And then obviously the evening, the gala, I guess about a month ago. I can't believe it's only been a month. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you almost kind of go into that mode where you're like, oh, it's going to be someone else, it's not going to be you, and you don't expect to be chosen. But obviously, it's such an honor, and it's very humbling to think that I can represent, so many fantastic teachers in this district. So
yeah,
it's been quite a ride.
Quite
just
a ride.
Couple months, yeah.
Exactly, and just so our viewers understand, so the prize patrol was after all of the individual schools picked their teachers and employees of the year. And we rode around with one of our school buses and picked up the 5 Teacher of the Year finalists and the 5 Employee of the Year finalists. And both groups of people had gone through a very extensive interview process, application process. So, it was kind of putting people in a position that some of our teachers and employees haven't been in before, kind of the on-the-spot questioning interview. And so it really is a rigorous process that everyone goes through. So this group of 10 finalists is just, the cream of the crop, really. And that's hard to say when we have a district with already so many amazing teachers.
Yeah,
and it's such a hard choice every year. I hear from both committees, there's just so many good people. There's just so many good people. But we narrow it down, and the committees use rubrics and guidelines, and they pick those 5 teachers and the 5 employees. And we pick them up from their schools, and everyone rides together, and we ended up at Mulligan's, thanks to Community Credit Union, who sponsored that luncheon again this year. And I think it was a super fun day for everyone, and everyone enjoyed it. And after that, we moved into our process of creating the night of the gala, which was also really cool. We had our glow party this year for everyone,
which was amazing. My boys were there, my 6 and 3-year-old, and they are just like, wow. They're just watching the musical acts and the drummers, and it was fun for all.
Yeah, and that's what we tried to create this year, was just a night that everyone really wanted to come out to. In Dodgertown, the glove choir and Sebastian High School drumline was so cool with the black lights, and it was a really, really fun night. And that's how we got down to selecting you as our Teacher of the Year for the district, which also involved all 5 of our finalists having taped lessons, and the committee reviewing, once again, those finalists' lessons, and using a rubric to score them to come down to our one person for the district. So congratulations, because it really has been a very long road for you, and you came out on top, and that's quite the feat. So we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
So you just recently submitted your state packet. Now, what different did you have to do for your state packet in order to turn that in?
So the state packet, we kind of retaped the lesson according to their requirements, and there was some reflection that I had to do about instructional practices and what I'm really working on and focusing on with my students, which is, there are many things, many pieces that go into every day's lesson. And so it really, one of the things I've learned with this process and with this packet is that you're doing so much on autopilot as a teacher in many cases that you don't get a chance to really think about, oh, well, this really is why I do this, and this is allowing my students to grow in this direction. And so I've really enjoyed being able to kind of point that out and really emphasize that in some of the classes and point that out to the students too, that this is why we do these things and this is how you're growing as a student and as an individual. So, so yeah, that's really, fortunately we had, with the finalist stage, I had a lot of the packet done, thanks to you. And making sure that all those ducks were in a line, or ducks in a row. So, there wasn't too much to do this last stage, just the extra lesson. And so, thank goodness it's out, it's submitted, and now it's up to them.
And now we just wait. We wait to hear back. Exactly. And I know it is helpful sometimes. As a teacher in the past, I remember being recorded and watching and reflecting, and you don't do that a lot. But when you do, you can pick things out and you can see things that, wow, that would really be helpful, or I could change this, and it's great, not just for our finalists or for you, but really for anyone to record and reflect on their practices. Yeah. So I think it is really helpful, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to do that. And your kids were great. I mean, your students, they were naturals, and you can tell that they have a routine that they follow in the class, and that they have a structure, because you can't just walk in and surprise students, and when they know what they're doing and what they're supposed to be doing. And I really saw that in your classroom. Yeah, I really, every year when I start, with my new students, I tell them, I've got 2 fantastic little boys at home, and I leave them there because I love being here and I want to be with you. And I really am so grateful and lucky to have the students that I have. They make me look forward to coming into school, even when I'm not feeling well or when I'm having a bad day. They make me smile and they make me laugh, and we really kind of, it's a team effort between them and myself, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Right, and I could really feel the energy in your classroom, and although I'm sure it was different than most days, because it's not every day you have a camera and a couple people standing around. Exactly. But it was really nice to see how excited they were for you and how involved they were in the process, and just to kind of sit back and watch your lesson and think about what you were teaching. Tell us a little bit about the lesson that you taped for that video. So the lesson was, it was modified from a case study that I had found from the University of Buffalo, and it was all about the issue of how we try and save an endangered species of caribou. And so in Canada and throughout North America, we've had programs where we will go out and hunt wolves because we see them as threats to endangered species or to our livestock or our lifestyles. And one of the things I try and focus on with the students is, let's get away from the emotional argument and let's look at the science. And so the students each had a little piece of the puzzle where they had a little piece of scientific research or a study that they were, or part of a doctoral dissertation or some kind of published research that they brought in. And we went through several iterations of different groups where they were with experts from the same topic, and then they would split and they would go into mixed groups. And as they went into these different groups, they were able to just kind of compile information and use that research and that evidence to build a sound position that they could now defend and argue. And in the end, they had to then kind of present that information about whether or not we should kill wolves to save the caribou in a kind of front page news article. So making science not only understandable, but also accessible to the general public, and saying, I understand that these are the reasons why this is the position we should have. So it was a lot in one class period, but the students did fantastic. Right, and it was really high-level text that they were reading. These were college articles that they were reading. So I was really impressed. Obviously, you have some very intelligent students in your class, and they worked very hard to get there. And you can tell they were very involved with the lesson and engaged with the lesson. And my favorite part at the end, though, was allowing them to get their cell phones out, kind of their exit ticket, take a picture and send it to you to show what their favorite poster was. And that was just so cool because kind of allows teenagers to be teenagers. Like anything that allows them to get their cell phones out. I know. Yes. So and that's one thing, I really try and encourage that use of kind of that personal technology, because that's where their world is right now. So I use the Remind text service, and I allow them to kind of contact me that way, because it gives them that
that comfortability of being able to ask questions or submit an opinion without having to, maybe say it in front of the whole class or that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, they definitely get excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you for allowing us in your classroom that day, and for being such a trooper in this whole process. And we're so proud of you, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're just waiting to hear from the Department of Education about our state finalists. So we hope it's you. Of course, we think you're the best.
Thank you.
So thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
And next we have Daisy Rios from Fellsmere Elementary. She is our Employee of the Year for the School District of Indian River County.
Our 2017-2018 Executive Summary serves as a reader-friendly narrative of the goals that were met and the success that was celebrated throughout our first year of implementing the strategic plan. The Executive Summary clearly lays out the 5 categories we have identified that are vital for a thriving school system: student success, climate and culture, high-quality workforce, communication and engagement, and strategic partnerships. Enriched with photographs of our own students, teachers, staff members, community partners, explicable infographics, and testimonials, providing a clear picture of how our district is climbing toward success and making steady progress each day. In the years to follow, we will continue to build on the successes of our first year of the strategic plan and set out to accomplish even more of our goals, serving all students, families, and our community with excellence.
Welcome back to Community Corner. I'm Kristen Maddox. And joining us now is Daisy Rios from Fellsmere Elementary School. She is our Employee of the Year for the School District of Indian River County. Hi, Daisy. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So, congratulations, first of all. You went through the same journey as Dr. Mosblick did. And, aside from some of the different things that the teachers are required to do for their packets and applications, you still had your own things that you had to submit. And just tell us a little bit about that. Like, once you were selected as Employee of the Year at Fellsmere, what were some of the things that you had to just jump into?
Well, I had no idea of the whole, like, what happened after. So when I was chosen as Employee of the Year from our school, of course I was overjoyed, so happy. And then I remember having to fill out, some of the things for an Employee of the Year. But I remember going to the interview and being so nervous. I remember even signing in, and when I sat down in front of the committee, I think the first thing I blurted was, I hope I spelled my name outside correctly. I hope I spelled my name right. And so, but thankfully the committee was so welcoming and so kind. And so I was set at ease and I was able to just talk and answer the questions. So when Dr. Rendell and everybody else that came in through our school to announce that I was one of the finalists, even more overjoyed, was not expecting it, and so very happy. And getting to meet everybody else who was chosen, and going out to lunch and just having that casual little time with everyone else was very nice.
Yeah, and I remember that day very well. I remember surprising you in the front office. And Mr. E, the principal, was running around the school. We were looking for him and looking for you and trying to be discreet.
Yes.
And he even ran the bus out down the road of Fellsmere. He was so overjoyed that you were one of the finalists.
He was. He's like, "You're a little grasshopper. You've grown so much." And I was like, mystery being mystery. Yes, that was definitely his way of being so happy for me and for our school.
And this was the second year for Fellsmere having the Employee of the Year for the district, with Jillian Brothers last year.
Yes.
That's awesome. I mean, obviously Fellsmere's doing something right.
Well, I think that's another thing that we were so unexpected. Not that I'm sure the committee is not looking at what school has won previously, but it was something to think about, and we were. It was unexpected for many reasons, and but overjoyed that it was our school again, and so we're very proud of our school and our faculty and teachers and everybody that works there. We have an amazing team.
Right, and you should be, and they should be very proud of you as well.
Yes.
And you have kind of a different story. You have a special story because you have a special connection to not only the city of Fellsmere, but Fellsmere Elementary. So tell us a little bit about that.
So my parents were migrant workers, and I had the opportunity to go to different schools, and then from Texas to here back to Florida. And so my family finally decided to establish a home in Fellsmere. And so I went to Fellsmere Elementary, and I had amazing, amazing teachers. I mean, it's so funny because I can name all of them, and it's really hard for me to recall middle school and high school teachers, but my elementary teachers had such a big impact on me. And so when I saw an opening for a job for Fellsmere, I thought, let's give it, wouldn't it be amazing to go back and give back to the school that had such a big impact on my life? And so I went to the interview. Mr. interviewed me, and I didn't get it. And he told me, he said, I don't think you're suited for this job. And I said, okay. And it's so funny because then a week later he calls and he says, we have another job opening. I think this would suit you better. And when I went in as a secretary, he said, I think you'd be great. I think you'd be a great addition in our front office. And 4 years later, here I am. And so it really is nice to go back and to walk those halls proudly, now being part of the staff and seeing these children that come in and that are as nervous as I was, going back and forth between schools and being able to just talk to them and tell them it's going to be okay, and talk to the parents and tell them their kid is going to be okay. They're in good hands in this school. And so I'm very grateful and to be working at Fellsmere Elementary.
Right, and it's such a special school because we have so many students there where English is not their first language.
Correct.
And I can't even imagine coming into school as a child and not knowing what the main language is, and what a challenge that must be, and how intimidating that must be. But I know at Fellsmere they're so well equipped to educate students who don't have English as their primary language. And not only connect with them on the level where we have teachers and employees who are speaking their native language, but also people supporting them to learn English. And we have these amazing bilingual students coming out of Fellsmere, and at such a young age already have this skill that puts them at the top of the pool of people who in the future are looking for jobs and going to college. And it's just amazing to see these young students start off and maybe a little intimidated to go to school, and then all of a sudden they're at the top of the class and they're more employable as adults than anyone else, really.
It is a very incredible. I mean, you see these kids coming from a different country, so everything is different. It's not just the language, but everything, lifestyle and everything. So having the staff that we do, helping them and guiding them and giving them the tools they need in order to succeed. It is very rewarding to see, and so slowly I was able to participate in several things. Like one of them is Moonshot, the Moonshot Academy here at Fellsmere Elementary. So it was nice to get into the classroom and seeing the academic side from these students. So helping them has also been very rewarding. Just having to sit with them in a small group and help them and guide them, and it's been very, very interesting, very fun to see. Yeah.
And we know how important your role is at Fellsmere, being one of the faces that you see when you come into the front office and feeling welcomed as soon as you walk in, not only if you're a student, but parents as well. So we really appreciate everything that you do there, and I'm sure the community does as well.
Yes.
So you are turning in your state application packet in a couple, well, you have. It's due in a couple of days, but you're ahead of the game, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What were some of the things that you had to do for your state application?
I not too much new. Thankfully, we did have just to regather, regroup a lot of the things that we had to submit. One of the requirements was a second letter of recommendation. I had a previous teacher write it for me because, again, and one of my previous teachers at Fellsmere Elementary So it was it's so heartwarming to have someone to know that they know you, and I was sitting in their classroom long ago. So just gathering everything and then going back and making sure, you know, everything was ready to go. And then it was a nice highlight to see of all the things that you could go back to and what you really are doing. Because when you do it, it's almost like you're on auto, on some auto.
An autopilot.
There, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And you just do it because that's part of your job, so and so. But when you go back and you write it down on a piece of paper, you're like, oh wow, that is a lot. I mean, that seems like a lot of our teachers and everyone that works there does so much. I'm sure if they wrote everything down, it'd be the same. So, it one of the highlights I think I saw going back was the attendance and how important it is at every school. So going back and, you know, having that like, oh, I do this, and the reports, and that's very helpful, and it makes everyone aware. So, and then clicking that final submit, I was so grateful to hit it. I was like, ready, go. And so now we'll just, you know, we'll wait and see.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Teacher and Employee of the Year candidates and finalists, I don't think people realize how much you actually put into it. You know, it is a great celebration, and the gala is a great party, and you know, you do have some perks that are associated with the title, but it is a lot of work.
It is.
And it's a lot of stress, I would imagine, because just watching the process and coordinating it, you know, I can tell, I'm like, we're giving them a lot to do and a lot to accomplish.
But it was really a fun process and a fun ride. Yes, there's a lot of work to it, but I think when you're having fun, it's, you know, at the end you're like, it was definitely worth it.
Right, right. And I like what you said about, you know, when you finally write down some of your accomplishments and, you know, you sit and you have a visual and you look at it. It's like what Dr. Moslek was saying, you know, when she reflected on the video of her lesson. You know, we might do it in different ways as teachers and employees, but, you know, this process really does allow everyone to reflect and hopefully improve upon, you know, their current practices and even become a better teacher and a better employee because of it.
Correct.
You know, so if it's done in the proper way, and it really does have a positive impact on not only us as individuals, but, you know, the school that we're working in.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Yes. So is there anything else that you would like to add to our interview here today, or?
Just very thankful for you and everyone behind the scenes. We know that, you know, in front of the scenes you could see how well everything turned out, but everything that you did behind the scenes and your team, thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you. It's truly a pleasure to do it every year. It's the most exciting time of the year for us.
Yes.
And to be able to recognize not only the Teachers and Employees of the Year, but just celebrate all of our teachers and employees in the district.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for being here with us today as we interview Dr. Moslek, our Teacher of the Year from Vero Beach High School, and Miss Daisy Rios, our Employee of the Year from Fellsmere Elementary School. See you next time.